Misa versus Frondell. Are we really doing this?
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker of the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network, we cover your team every day. If you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do, just follow along wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today, apparently, we're doing the Misa versus Frondell debate as we are officially in draft week. And of course, that comes with it smokescreen season, rumor season, and apparently this is the rumor. Now that the Sharks might be interested in taking Anton Frondell over Michael Misa at number 2. So we're going to dig into both players, kind of compare the stats, compare their previous seasons. We're going to see what the scouts say about them and if it's really an easy choice of Misa over Frondell. So let's get started by looking at both of these players and kind of their stats and what we kind of know about them. So we'll start with Michael Misa, who's been the, ranked higher than Anton Frondell, and it's kind of been viewed as the clear-cut number 2 behind Michael Misa, or not behind Matthew Schaefer, right? And Misa is expected to be the first forward off the board. So Misa, 6'1", 182 pounds. Those are height and weight from the combine, so up to date. He played 65 games in the OHL this year with the Saginaw Spirit. Left-handed shot. He had 62 goals, 72 assists, and 284 shots on goal. Led the entire CHL in points. Was second in goals this season. Racked up a ridiculous amount of awards this year. Was the first team OHL, first team All-Star team, most outstanding player, won the most points trophy, was the top scorer, of course. Like, Misa did about everything you could ask in a season. Yes, playoffs were, he played 4 playoff games, had 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points, was injured during that time and missed the U18s. But Michael Misa had himself a season, pretty good season, I would say. So Anton Frondell, playing over in Sweden on the Hockey Allsvenskan, which is the second tier professional league for Djurgården. 6'1", 204 pounds. That's the official combine weight. So same height. Frondell's got a little bit more bulk to him. Left-handed shot. Played 29 games in the Hockey Allsvenskan where he had 11 goals, 14 assists for 78 shots on goal during that time. Bounced around a little bit this year as a player who started the season ended last year with an injury, started this season with an injury as well. Played in the J20 league for a little bit, kind of bounced around between the J20 league and the Hockey Allsvenskan league. But the second half of his season, he was absolutely on fire for the Hockey with Djurgården. During the playoffs, in 16 playoff games, had 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points as Djurgården won the Hockey Allsvenskan and was promoted to the SHL. So, and playing third line minutes on that line with Victor Eklund. So both these players, put up pretty good good points. For Frondell, maybe not the same amount of accolades, did win the Hockey Allsvenskan Rookie of the Year award. So very nice there. Of course, won the championship this year as well. So both of these guys, plenty of accolades and plenty of production to go with them. And yes, you had Hockey Allsvenskan, Men's League, OHL. Definitely not a men's league, and there are way more games in the hockey in the OHL than there are Hockey Allsvenskan, et cetera, et cetera. But Looking at what the Elite Prospects Draft Guide, which I love. If you don't go get the Elite Prospects Draft Guide. It's great. If you like drafts, which you probably do if you're listening to this, it's great. Well worth it. So looking at, they do a really nice job of kind of tracking and, looking at what players excel at. And they also have kind of what they kind of do like the superlatives for each player. So here's Michael Misa's card. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. If not, I'll explain it to you. Looking at his tracking, which is, if you're a fan of like all three zones, we've utilized his tracking, other players' tracking. They do it for these players as well. So shooting, like basically everything Misa does is like very good. Like the worst thing he does is like his controlled exits per 60, and that's still positive. Like everything Misa does when it comes to like the games that they tracked, whether shooting, shots per shot, or expected goals per 60, shots per 60, his passing, like creating slot passes per 60, advantages created per 60, like is literally off the charts. Like this chart is a beautiful blue, like what you want to see for a potential second overall pick. The scout poll results. He is the number one best offensive forward in the class, the number one best transition forward in the class, the number one best two-way forward in the class, number one with the highest floor, number 3 for the best motor. Again, that Mike Greer motor, right? Number 4, best straight line skater. Number 4, best vision. Number 4, highest ceiling. And number 5, best shot. Misa does everything, from what we've seen with his time in the OHL, right? And there's a reason why he was a exceptional status player who got to start playing early. Like Michael Misa's. It's not like Michael Misa just showed up out of the blue. And again, not saying Anton Frondell didn't just show up out of the blue, but Misa's very, very good. Like, and there's a lot of expectations for Michael Misa and kind of the projection for what he should be. Looking at Anton Frondell's, and again, right, playing a much tougher league over in Hockey Allsvenskan. He really struggles in the transition department, getting the puck from point A to point B in the neutral zone, kind of his controlled entries, controlled exits, like not carrying the puck, not really his forte. Does a good job defensively, does a good job of creating expected goals and shots per 60, which you would expect for Frondell, but not maybe the passing, not as productive, I would say, as you would hope from Frondell with his position. The scout polls, second best shot, fourth best power forward, and fifth highest floor. So those were kind of the superlatives that he was awarded from Elite Prospects. So just again, Elite Prospects does a great job. We'll look at some other scouts and what their actual thoughts here in a little bit, but it's, if you look at the numbers and stuff, yes, again, Frondell played in a much tougher league, played less games, was very productive second half of the season. Michael Misa, again, OHL is not the Hockey Allsvenskan. Way more games, was extremely productive in that time, and seems to have, I would say, much higher floor, et cetera, et cetera. So just to, again, kind of compare, Byron Bayram, with his model that he uses, which really relies heavily on NHL expectancy and kind of taking, if you score X amount of points in the Hockey Allsvenskan, we have a little formula for the Hockey Allsvenskan, pump it in. This is how many points you'd expect to score in the NHL, right? Same thing, you score X amount of points in the OHL, you pump it into the OHL formula. This is how many points you would expect to score in the NHL. So looking at those, Michael Misa, projected to have scored 53 points in the NHL this year. Anton Frondell, 43 points. He does have Frondell as more likely to be a star player and an NHLer. NHLer for him is 200 games. Star player is a forward who scores 0.7, career 0.7 points per game or more. Misa, not far behind. He has him as a 68% star player and a 79% NHLer probability. And one of his comps, Will Smith. So Frondell's his comps, Quentin Byfield, Dylan Guenther, Mitch Marner, kind of to name some, but does have some interesting names there. And it is interesting that he has Frondell more likely to be a star producer and a star type of player. So we're going to see what some of these scouts say and look at kind of some of the scouting reports out there on both these players here in just 1 second. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller, longer. Personally, I like the in-shell variety. I like hearing the little crack open of the shell. It's like a snack meditation. But if you like the no shell, I'm not going to shell shame you. They have plenty of great options, plenty of amazing flavors to try out. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, kids, it is draft week. And if you haven't subscribed to Locked On Sharks, man, I don't know what you're doing at this point. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. We will be in LA. Probably get there your Wednesday night, Thursday. Still trying to get the timeline nailed down here. We'll be in LA. You'll hear from the Sharks' newest players, prospects that are at the draft. Plenty of great draft coverage coming up. And then we have free agency next week. So make sure you follow along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. All right. So what do the draft people think, right? What do the scouts think? And these are public scouts, right? And of course, public scouts and private and, professional, not professional, but NHL scouts, they're going to have their own opinions and stuff like that. But we got to work with the data that we have, and we're going to go with some of friends of the show and people who've never been on the show, and just kind of some of the works out there. So our bald king, Tony Ferrari of the hockey news, he of course has been doing this for a while. He has Michael Misa ranked as the number one overall player out there. So here's what he says on Misa. The ultimate do-it-all center who has been unbelievable this season. Unfortunate injury in the playoffs kept Misa from participating in the U18s for Canada, but everything we've seen from him this year has been fantastic. Misa has the intelligence and work ethic to excel in all 3 zones in a detail-oriented game that should make him a very stout player in the small area game. He was the CHL's leading scorer and second highest goal scorer. Misa's game has very few holes. You could reasonably see him developing to a very solid top line center or an elite second line pivot. I think he put that in there just for me. What does he say about Frondell? After dealing with injuries for part of last season, in the first half of this year, Frondell had a fantastic second half that showed everyone he is well worth being a top pick in the year's NHL draft. He put up 25 points in 28 games at the second-tier Allsvenskan League in Sweden. Frondell could play on the wing or at center, using his speed and excellent reach to put himself in position to make plays. He plays a pro-style game and should be one of the most interesting dual-threat centers early in the draft. That's no knock on Frondell. Seems like a great player. Michael Misa, just, again, it's that. And he has Frondell ranked 5, and he has Misa at number 1. So, again, do with that what you will. Scott Wheeler of The Athletic. Massive. I'll read kind of part of it because he's like got 3 paragraphs on each player. Like he is very, very in depth on these guys. But Misa is a beautiful scare with some quiet explosiveness and a real knack for weaving, cutting, turning, and spinning in control of the puck to either shake defenders under pressure in the offensive or defensive zone or slip past them in transition with his speed and agility. He's also a very smart player who makes his line mates better with his playmaking, vision, and ability to execute while tightly covered off the puck. He's willing to track, stick with plays, and compete. He finishes his checks and has good defensive instincts on interceptions and support. He gets the puck a lot and then protects it beautifully. There are times he'll turn that over and like to see him get open and glide less, but he just did a nice job of cutting him back on that while being the top player of the OHL at 5-on-5 and on the penalty kill where he leads the league in shorthanded points and on the power play. He's a slippery player in the offensive zone. He's a weaving skater in transition, has developed more of a scorer's mentality and started to look for his own looks more, using his natural dragon coat wrister more intentionally, getting to the guts of the home plate area with more consistency. There's natural skill and playmaking layered in, which lights up when he gets the puck inside the offensive zone. The move back to center really involved him in more plays and highlighted the value of his skating, which he most useful when getting touches down low. He's also now 6'1" compared to 5'11" during his exceptional status season, and projection to jump his production to jump to the 90 100 point in his draft year. And now look what he did. So it was a strong case to be the first player and even stronger to the first forward picked in the draft. And I strongly considered ranking him number 1. Cool. He goes on for Frondell. There's lots to like about Frondell's scale. It's heavy, but plays with tension, strength, and some power. There are also questions about his fitness level, which he killed it at the combine. So don't have to worry about that. He's competitive. He excels in the puck protection, which again we saw more of late in Allsvenskan regular season. He gauges himself on and off the puck, offensively and defensively, and gets involved in impacting plays in all 3 zones. He's got quick hands, a big one-timer, a natural hard release, and a good sense for spacing and attacking. He's got an ability to create his own looks, challenge defenders, and find and use open ice to play off his teammates. He can be relied upon defensively and does a good job supporting play and picking up his assignments when he needs to help out the D. Though he has played mostly wing for your Guardians men team, he's a natural center, and I've liked him at both positions. Projects to be a center. He's got pro quality and tools. I wondered enough times about whether his pace. He can look like he's got big boots, which means he look a little slow out there. Whether his playmaking is high enough to rank him in the back of our tier 2, though. Still, Frondell projects to be a productive two-way center, second-line center in the NHL with continued development. Again, this is like I'm not trying to kill Frondell, but which player would you rather have? Cam Robinson, friend of the show. He has Michael Misa ranked number 2. Misa is a dynamic, cerebral center who thrives with the puck on his own stick. His ability to dictate pace, manipulate defenders with skill, edge work, and exploit seams with crisp, high IQ passes makes him a constant dual threat in the offensive zone. Misa processes the game quickly, but is able to slow things down when needed before exploding to soft space with acceleration and purpose. He's not just finesse, though. He competes hard, tracks ball off the puck, creates turnover with active stick pressure, and an elite vision with a deceptive release. And you have a forward with legitimate top-line upside who can be leaned on in all situations. For Frondell, who he has ranked number 10th, and this is his latest, came out this weekend, big board. Perhaps the most debated prospect in the class, there's no denying Anton Frondell made a significant impact at the professional level this past season. The physical, mature forward spent the majority of the season on the wing, playing a heavy north-south style when utilizing his power release on the power play. A lack of overly obvious skill weakens his prospects of becoming a top liner, but there's skill, will, and a foundation that projects safely to a secondary offensive player with strong defensive habits. So, all the scouts, Misa, dynamic player, right? Who can play in all situations, has pretty easy, I'd say, to argue higher upside compared to Anton Frondell. So what are we doing here, guys? We're going to explore that in just 1 second. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling with FanDuel? You can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. Just go against the Rockies, man. Like, the Rockies stink. Also, take the under on Giants runs because the Giants cannot score. Even with Devers, still can't score. Also, ask if I'm watching the Giants game. If I'm watching the Giants game, they're probably going to lose. So that's my tip right there. So if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. All right, guys. Do want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On NHL podcast. There's no off season. We're bringing you the daily biggest stories league wide that matter the most with the local coverage you love from Locked On. Find Locked On NHL on YouTube wherever you listen to podcasts. Okay. If you ask me, it's fairly easy. Like, Michael Misa should be the pick. And you could argue fit, right? Because look at the Sharks prospect pool and kind of what you know for sure, right? You feel pretty good. Macklin Celebrini is going to be the long-term first-line center who's is a budding superstar, right? Feel like you can kind of lock and load that in, right? And I would be surprised if Celebrini at this rate. I'd be surprised if Celebrini isn't like a superstar type of player. Yeah, Will Smith, excellent second half of the season, right? Questions on if he's going to be a center or a wing. Played on the wing last year, and they're going to put him back in the center this year. At least that's the plan. You have players you like, right? Quentin Musty and Chernyshov, who played with Misa last year. You have Haltonen, who's probably going to be kind of more of a specialist type of player, right? Michael Misa, and again, this is no knock to Anton Frondell. I think he's going to be a really great player. But just who's the better player, man? Like, the Sharks are not in a position to be worrying about fit right now. Like, you just take the best player at this point and you try to figure it out later. Okay? And our good friend, Tony Ferrari, right? Misa's game has very few holes, and you can reasonably see him developing to a very solid top-line center or an elite second-line pivot. Again, you have Celebrini. Celebrini makes your life so much easier. You did the hard part, right? Finding a 1C. Michael Misa and his ability to be a full 200-foot player. So you could have Celebrini, who you think is going to be a potential like Selke type of player one day, right? Like, just awesome up and down all 200 feet. What if you could just do that again on the second line and just have another guy who's going to be awesome 200 feet? Because that's what you'd be doing by drafting Michael Misa. And then, again, Will Smith, you put him on the wing. Okay. There was questions about Will Smith if he was going to be a center or a wing not coming into the NHL. You let Misa and Smith compete. And if, whoever, quote unquote, loses out, you move them to the wing. Like, and then, oh, cool, you get to go play with Macklin Celebrini. Like, we've seen Smith and Celebrini excel as rookies. Imagine what happens in a couple of years. Like, and again, like, I get the Frondell, right? You want to play a bigger, heavier game, etc. Misa and Frondell are the same. Like, yes, Frondell's got some more weight on him right now, and he has played against professional hockey. But that's not to say like Misa can't. Like Misa's the same height. I think he's a quarter inch shorter than Frondell, and right, he's like 20 pounds lighter right now than Frondell. Okay, like we know these guys are 18 years old. Like they're going to continue to grow and develop their bodies and stuff. Maybe right now Frondell's floor is a little bit higher when it comes to his body style, like his body type, but again, like we've seen Misa grow. They said he grew 3 inches basically, or 2 inches since his exceptional height, like year. And again, maybe Frondell continues to grow as well. I just think Misa's one, a safer floor. 2, he has a higher ceiling. And 3, he's just a better player. Like this is super clear cut. Like it should be Michael Misa. Like if the Sharks, if Misa and Frondell are both there, and assuming Schaefer goes number 1 to the Islanders, if the Sharks pick Frondell, I will be shocked. And so the question then is, why are they doing this right now? 1 is smokescreen season, guys. Like 2, the draft is a very long process. So we go through this all the time, right? Maybe this team will pick this player, maybe this team will pick this player, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know, man. Like I think, again, the way Mike Grier builds this team, right? He wants uber competitive, uber skilled players. Michael Misa isn't like, he's an uber skilled player that's uber competitive as well, right? We've seen, and the Sharks have had eyes on Saginaw all, at least we know at least the second half of the season, and have worked very closely with Saginaw with their own prospect Igor Chernyshov. You got to assume the Sharks are going to know Michael Misa, right? Like very well. Yeah, I hear it, right? Maybe they like him, and they should. Anton Frondell seems like a great player, but you're settling for a lesser player who may or may not fit a role for you. Yeah, I think Misa's a much more complete player and more dynamic player. I think he gives you more flexibility and options with how you want to build your and construct your roster. And Misa may or may not be in the NHL next year. Like I think a year in college wouldn't hurt him, but if he makes the NHL next year, I wouldn't be shocked either, too. And like again, having a core of Eklund, Celebrini, Misa, and Smith, like that's insane. Like you have legitimately like 3 superstar producers in Smith, Celebrini, and Misa. Like, and then you have Eklund, who's a very, very like a high star type of player, production wise as well. Yeah, like sign me up for that, and especially if you want to try to build down the middle. Having Celebrini come off a shift, Michael Misa come out following Celebrini for the next 15 years. Sign me up for that, buddy, because that's how you win championships right there, is play down the middle. And if you have Celebrini and Smith, and again, complementary types of players, right? Where Celebrini, right, going to be got that dog in him, going to play a full 200-foot game. Michael Misa also got that dog in him, is going to play a full 200-foot game as well, right? You're not going to get not getting a let up from your top 2 centers like that it's a game changer potentially for the San Jose Sharks. So Mike Grier, don't overthink this. Just take the best player and figure it out later. And Michael Misa is the best player, at least among the forwards. So just yes. It's going to be a long week, guys. So we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be most likely looking at mock drafts and kind of doing a last mock draft roundup. So make sure you're following along wherever you get podcasts. And, of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Till tomorrow. Bye, friends.